3 years ago, we open to a girl about 14 years old with wavy brown hair standing completely out of place at a house party. Many of the other guests are 4 or more years her senior, and the friend that had dragged her to the party had long since disappeared into the tight-packed crowd dancing in the living room. Hiding away in the corner of the room, the girl takes a sip from the red plastic cup she carries. It's something sour, something that burns her lips. She hates it, but drinks anyways. Her friend, that weird chemistry teacher, her stepfather, they've all told her that she'll learn to like it, eventually. So she takes another drink. "Hey, Parkside, you're looking real cool playing loner." A boy, maybe 17, had taken up leaning against the wall near her. She never even noticed him approaching. He smells like incense, has sweat-drenched, short black hair, and wears an unbuttoned flannel with no undershirt. Unsurprisingly, she forgets to respond until he nudges her. Yeah. Wait, Parkside? Yeah. He gestures at her outfit. I mean, you dress the part of girls from that neighborhood. Let me guess. No money, parents divorced, probably have daddy issues, about to get roped into the night of her life by a mysterious and handsome stranger. That sound about right? The girl takes another nervous drink, but smirks. Sorry, what was that last bit? The boy laughs. You know, I'm not much for parties like this either. You think maybe you want to take a ride? You have a car? She says, hardly believing that she's playing along. Nah, not like that. He pulls a small plastic container from his pocket. The contents appear a vibrant orange liquid. It almost glows as he holds it in front of her face. Slowly, he untwists the cap, revealing it to be a dropper, opens his mouth, and squeezes 3 drops onto his outstretched tongue. He inhales through his open mouth, arches back, and howls towards the ceiling. The howl is almost entirely lost beneath the party's music. But the girl hears it. Tabitha hears it clearly, and it makes her tremble. When he turns his attention back to her, she sees that his pupils are dilated, but more so that they now shift in color between yellows, oranges, and reds, as if a fire were burning in the depths of his eyes. How about it, Parkside? Do you want to feel alive for once? Come on. Ride the flame. Hi, Internet. It's me, Mr. Critically Accursed, the guy running the show behind a Critically Accursed podcast. It's just me doing the intro this time. I just kind of wanted to do something short, sweet, and simple. Long story short, we've finished our first 5 episodes, which means that you, the listener, are now familiar with our 5 major characters of our story called Horizon. Congratulations! The next 5 issues are going to serve to kind of build the setup for our major event of Volume 1 of our first season, if you will, of our podcast. So kick back, relax, I don't know, get some candy, some popcorn, a nice juicy burger or something. I don't know what people eat when they listen to podcasts. Strap in, because this is issue number 6, Todd Tabour. Enjoy. Do it. I'm watching. You better fucking enjoy it. Okay, eyes on you. Enjoy this. Okay, bye. Alex, we are back focusing on Todd Tabour, the delinquent of our story. Not his hero name, just his playbook. And at the beginning of the school year, he had a little bit of a hard time. He ran into a little bit of a snag. That's, it was kind of a roller coaster of emotions, I would say. What would you say?
I'd say he had his heart broken by an older vixen.
After having his heart broken and, I guess, very slowly picking up the pieces, and I don't know, I think at the end of that, we said that he was lingering, feeling guilty about the whole experience of his run-in with Tabitha.
After being used and everything, realizing she only used him to get what she wanted, he's feeling guilty that he let her do that.
So, since the prelude ended, which was right at the start of the school year, we are going to jump ahead about a month and a half, and I'm making you carry over that guilty condition because I feel like being an asshole, I guess. I don't know. Also, I imagine that, over the past, 6 weeks since the whole run-in with Tabitha, that's probably weighed heavy on Todd's mind, I imagine.
Oh, no, it's definitely made him rethink some things at the very least, because he at first was just apathetic. He was skipping class because he didn't really care, just being kind of bad kid because he didn't care about things. Then he started caring about her and doing bad things for her. And now he's realized, wow, doing bad things just ended up getting me hurt. So he might honestly be trying to be a little bit better at this point. Maybe attending classes a little more frequently, not causing as much strife for Talia as he was, all from this guilt inside from doing all that bad shit.
Oh, so he's actually behaving
a little bit more. Not much where it's where he's gonna get praises from Talia for it, but she does notice, oh, wow, he actually did one of his homework assignments for this week.
Going into session today, this particular chapter of this particular comic book, I'm thinking that we open with a page that is Todd's house. Each panel is just showing an empty room late at night. It's dark. The only lights that the kitchen lights are on, but they're kind of shitty. So they're blinking a little bit. The living room's only lit by the TV, lighting like that. Otherwise, some rooms are just completely dark, and we're just kind of exploring his house panel to panel, and we get a few speech bubbles popping in from the sides of each panels, and it's a conversation that's happening between kind of across the whole family. Your father, Jackson, and your mother, Elaine, are talking, and it becomes clear that they're talking to you and your sister, Talia. Your father says, "Your mother and I have been thinking that we all live very busy lives. We work often, admittedly, and we thought that it would be a good idea to attend the Remembrance Day festival as a family. We've put aside some money, and we kind of want to make a day out of it. We haven't always been around, but we wanted you to know that." And your mother, her speech bubble intercepts at this point, and she says, we wanted you to know that we do think about you, even if we're not home. If it's okay with the two of you, after school on Remembrance Day, we'll go visit the rally in town center, and then the festival thereafter.
Yeah, that seems like that could be cool. And maybe on the scene where it shows Todd leaving, he'll have a little bit of a smile, finally getting a little time with his parents.
His sister follows him. She says some other things to your parents in the background, but then she catches up. I imagine this is nighttime, so maybe he's going upstairs or to his room or what have you. And she runs to catch up and punches him in the back of the shoulder, crosses her arms and scrunches up her face and kind of tries to mimic him by saying, "Oh yeah, I guess that's cool." What do you mean you guess that's cool? We never get to do anything with them.
I still have an image, dude.
They're our parents.
And don't you think they want to have a cool son?
She does the most the most eye-rolling eye roll that has ever existed. You hear her, like, neck kind of just pop from how hard she rolls her eyes.
Rule number 1. It's not cool to do stuff with your parents. It's teenager rule number 1.
I thought rule number 1 was always knock.
Okay, rule number 2. It's not cool to spend time with your parents.
Yeah, but you're still a little bit excited, aren't you? I can see it. I know you, Todd.
Shut up. He'll teleport away.
Yeah! That's great. And she's just left standing in the hallway, and she now has, like, that little smirk on her face. Where are you teleporting to? Your room? Outside? Going for a walk?
He just teleports up to his room. He's gonna go over to his bed to lift up his pillow where he keeps that picture that he's got of that picnic in the spring biome. He's gonna say, well, Grandpa, it seems like we're actually gonna have a good Remembrance Day for once.
Yeah, and then we probably just get the one panel that focuses back in on that very nice picture with your grandfather and your family. You know, maybe over Todd's shoulder. To clarify, I'm picturing Remembrance Day as being kind of like almost an early Thanksgiving. It's a day that came about after, like, 100 years ago, after World War III was finally resolved. A day that's just focused it's not like a patriotic day. It's more of a day of humanity, of reflecting on the things one has, the things one has lost. I don't know, one's place in a big community.
It's Thanksgiving, but not terrible.
And instead of sitting around a table and eating a turkey and drinking gravy through a big gulp straw, there's actual festivals. And in Horizon City, this year there's going to be a big gathering at City Center. The mayor's going to make a speech. There's going to be a monument unveiling. And then festivities are going to open for the public. And I guess the Tabour family is going to go to that, surprisingly. I think we can cut ahead to the next week. Towards the end of the week, we'll say Remembrance Day is Friday, because that's a good day for something like this, for a game that centers on teenagers. So we jump ahead to Remembrance Day. You still have to go to school, fucker. Because I guess that's how things happen in the future. Maybe school even lets out a couple hours early. They'll give you that much, at least, I guess. It's one of those pseudo-holidays where they're like, yeah, well, we recognize this, but no, you don't get the full day off. You don't even get a half a day. We'll let you out 2 hours early. I think that morning, we open on a panel that's very similar to Todd's opening panel in his prelude. Him laying in that disheveled bed in his disheveled room. Give me one interesting thing we can see in Todd's room in this panel. Maybe like a poster or like an old childhood toy.
You see a really old bass guitar that's just hanging on the wall. Like, this thing is probably 70 years old. And it's got a pick that's been placed between the strings. It says Hard Rock Cafe 2100.
I'm not going to ask you anything about that. I like that being just a mysterious item in there that may or may not come into play at some point later. Maybe I'll ask you off air. But I've noted it down. It will become important eventually. Shakes fist in anger.
Chekhov's bass guitar.
So yeah, we open on this panel of Todd sleeping in bed on Friday morning, and just like the beginning of his prelude, his door opens and his sister comes in. But where you would expect the next panel to be him getting like a pitcher of ice cold water splashed over his head, instead it's her like grabbing his shoulder and shaking him awake. She says, "Come on, you can't sleep in today. Get up, get dressed. We're leaving soon." And she like keeps shaking.
What time is it?
It's 7 o'clock.
All right. Hold on, I got something for you. He's gonna lean over the other side of his bed, and he's gonna flick some water at her, holding a glass of water. And he'll go, "I was gonna throw the whole thing, but you didn't get me this morning, so I'll be nice."
Yeah, she just like wipes off her face and says, How long has that water been there?"
"All night."
"Oh, I know you like to keep some dishes up here. I don't know what's growing in your room anymore."
"I'm pretty sure I got some cheese growing in the closet."
Yeah, I'm going to go now. I'm going to finish up. Why don't you get dressed and meet me out front?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and she'll leave the room.
He'll just snicker after she's gone, say it's been here for 2 weeks.
She says from the hallway, I heard that!
Just a big laughing bubble coming from his closed door.
So I think in your prelude, we said that your mom works overnights. You guys probably leave like right before she actually gets home, just to make it all the more depressing. And your dad works 2 day shifts because he's a monster. So he sleeps in pretty late.
Yes.
Although neither of them are supposed to be working today, they were obviously working yesterday. So you're missing them again in the morning. But true to her word, your sister Talia will meet you out front and escort you, or walk with you. She's not really escorting you today. She's more walking with you in a sibling-like manner.
I'll just be munching on a granola bar he took for a quick breakfast. It's chocolate chip.
Yeah, she glances at you and shakes her head and says, those things aren't as nutritious as you think they are.
It says it comes with 10% of my daily required calcium.
It also says it has electrolytes, and I guarantee you have no idea what those are.
They're what plants need.
I think you two share a laugh at that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, like you're just ribbing each other. Really good spirits for maybe the first time in a long time between the two of you. Definitely the first time that the readers are seeing, and that you and I are seeing. So you'll eventually get to school and go your separate ways. But before parting, she will say, Todd, listen, maybe try to really keep out of trouble today. I don't want anything to mess up later.
Don't worry, I don't got anything sketchy planned or anything.
Her eyes narrow, like she's looking you over, like she's piercing your mask.
Fuck you, I don't wear a mask.
And realizing you don't wear a mask, she nods and says, okay, then I'll see you after school.
I'll be here. She's taken aback for a moment, though. He said he's going to be here.
Well, I feel like she's probably in such a upbeat mood, considering, the back and forth you two were having on the walk there, and like when you woke up this morning. So she probably definitely walks away with a smile on her face. There's probably even like a thought bubble as she's walking away, like, he seems to be in a really good, decent place right now. This is who my brother should be. Todd goes to his homeroom, I guess, to get the day started. And how is he feeling? What's the morning look like for him? Just him bouncing between classes. What do we see in like the brief montage of panels?
They'll actually see Todd going to the classes and maybe participating in some of the ones he doesn't hate. So
we might see a panel of him like answering a question, like volunteering to answer a question.
I'd say that's got to be in Mr. Splash's class. But maybe when it gets to like English, have him be in there for like 10 minutes when all the others show like at least half an hour's passed. Have him be in there for like 15 minutes, just go, nope, I tried. I can't.
He's really not an English person.
I already know how to speak. I can write. What the fuck is the point of that class?
He's one of those people. Okay. Yeah, so we see him in like 3 other classes, like, I don't know, math, science, whatever future classes they have in the future. And then I think we jump to lunch. I don't know, I haven't really talked too much, I don't think, or at all, about lunch in future high school. Future high schools of the future. Do you imagine it's probably still like the same as our high school lunches? Just a whole bunch of long tables lined up together?
I'm imagining there isn't much difference from the school lunches of now. Probably more vending machines with like health foods in them.
There will still be the chocolate milk, there's like the flavored milk vending machine.
And Todd will look at it every time he goes in and goes, who in their right mind chooses to drink strawberry milk? Why is this still being made?
And I think as he's like walking by thinking that, there's this shorter, kind of heavier set kid who goes over to it, and he like just says out loud, oh boy, strawberry milk, it's my favorite. So yeah, he presses some buttons on the thing and gets his strawberry milk.
And Todd just passes by with this motherfucker look on his face.
Todd strikes me as someone who might have his usual spot in the cafeteria.
Oh, he definitely has the same corner table that he reserves every time. He only lets Robbie sit with him.
Right, Robbie Pepper. Yeah, as you approach the usual spot, you will see that Robbie's already there. Maybe he got here a little bit early, but he's already sitting down, and he has a tray of high school cafeteria food. And, he's wearing a simple, like, t-shirt and jeans, and his face, as usual, it's just a little smudged. Like, he just has one of those faces that's, like, always a little dirty.
But the question is, Chris, is it chicken patty day?
Roll me 2d6.
6.
It's cardboard pizza and french fries day.
Fuck! Well, looks like he's skipping lunch today.
You see Robbie. He's just like, he's sitting there and he's looking down at his tray of sad pizza and sadder french fries. And he's just kind of like flicking the french fries around with his finger.
Todd will sneak up on him. Because I imagine Todd sits in the corner, so Robbie like kind of sits across from him, like facing the corner. So he'll sneak up behind him, go and like tap on the one shoulder, go on the other side, then try his best to real quick jump to the other just to confuse him for a minute. Go, how's your day going?
Sure, yeah, he doesn't react as powerfully as you would expect. And when you go, how's your day going? He goes, yeah, it's fine, everything's fine. Yeah. It's just really, really not, thrilled about this. And he flicks a french fry off his tray. They should really have my brother deliver pizzas from the Mushroom Kingdom here.
I forget every damn time that that's the name of the restaurant.
Yep. It's the best pizza place in Horizon City.
Mario and Luigi do make one hell of a pie.
He gets a little bit of a smirk, and he just kind of finally gives up on the food and just like pushes it further in front of him. You're seeming in good spirits. You've been a little mopey lately. Your Mortal Kombat skills have kind of lacked recently. I just noticed some things. But you seem to be good today.
It's a good day. It's Remembrance Day. It's a day to celebrate.
You never cared about Remembrance Day before.
Well, I do now. What's the problem? You want to fight about it?
He shakes his head and says, no, you just win anyways.
You'd think that by now more people would have powers. He
gives a little bit of a sigh and nods.
So what is it like not having them? I'm not like trying to be an ass about this. I really want to know.
It sucks. I don't know. People with powers, they do so cool things. Like Recharge. He stopped a armed robbery the other day, just a couple of nights ago, actually. It was super cool. They say that the bullets bounced right off of him.
That's a pretty neat power.
Yeah.
Wonder how it works.
Yeah, it's really cool. Well, I don't know, but if you ever meet him, you should ask for me.
Oh, is he your favorite hero?
I think so. I used to be really into the Valors, but then Recharge came along, and he's just so interesting, like a new kid on the block sort of thing. Like, this is my town now. Evildoers get out.
I guess that's kind of cool. When did he start showing up?
Well, I first started following him maybe about 2 years ago. Yeah, and I just think, sometimes, like, how cool it would be if, like, I could do some of the stuff that he does, like, move super quickly, or just, like, punch out bad guys, save the day. And, again, he just, like, looks down at the table in front of him and gives this almost defeated sigh.
You don't always have to be super to be a hero.
That's just what superheroes tell regular people to make them feel better.
Well, take my powers, for example. What good am I really against a normal person? Say you were to bulk up, hit the gym, grow some muscle. My powers would do next to nothing against you. You'd be able to beat me in a fight if you were stronger than me. Just because some heroes have powers doesn't necessarily make them super.
He turns to you, and it looks like he's going to go say something, but then he, like, pauses right before his first word, and he holds up a hand saying, like, hold on 1 second, and he fishes a future phone out of his pocket, and he looks at it, and he says, oh, I have this thing. that I gotta. Sorry, but no, we should keep this conversation going later. You're going to Remembrance Day. I'm supposed to go with my brother, so maybe I'll see you there, huh? And he's already like standing up.
As he's going, he'll just be like, "Yeah, but where are you going? What's going on?"
Oh, yeah, it's just this thing with a teacher and extra credit. It's boring for you, I'm sure. So I'm just
no. We don't keep secrets.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm gonna be late.
Give me the phone.
Do you reach for it, or are you just like crossing your arms and going, "Give me the phone"?
Just hand out. Give me the phone. We don't hide stuff. We're friends.
He's reluctant to do so, but I think you could probably provoke him into doing it if you would like. You're obviously trying to get him to hand over his phone to share his obvious secret with you. And you're going to roll 2d6 plus your superior score.
Oh, yes.
Which is what, your best score?
Indeedly doodly. But I take a -2 to provoke him because I'm guilty still.
You also get a +1 because you have influence over him.
Oh, neat. That's 11.
With the -2?
No, that's right. I'm rolling superior +2. So it is. Yeah, so it's even. So it is a 9. Darn.
So on a 7 and 9, instead of doing the thing that you want them to do, they can instead choose from a small list of other options. You say, "Give me the phone," and I think like he gets a little red in the face, and he's just says, "Yeah, maybe it's good for me to have a secret once in a while. Why don't you just lay off, okay?" And he like brushes by you.
Well, something is off here. Let's see where he's going, and I'll try and sneak after him.
What follows then is probably a couple of panels of Todd just like bouncing around, being super stealthy.
Oh yeah, just total crunk from Emperor's New Groove.
Wonderful. I think as you're following Robbie Pepper, and he's moving rather hurriedly through the halls and through other students who are, moving through the lunchroom and what have you, at some point where you're like focused on him, maybe he's beginning to round a corner, maybe it looks like he's going to go talk to someone. Todd bumps into someone. There's this like shoulder bump, and I think Todd feels whatever tray of food this person was holding just get flung up against them, not Todd, but against them. And as that happens, Robbie rounds a corner, and Todd hears a fellow student, after the tray falls to the ground, this person says, "Hey man, why don't you watch where you're going, huh?"
Sorry, I was busy.
You were busy. Yeah, well, look at my outfit. And he just kind of gestures at him. And you see, this guy's a tall, square-jawed, handsome young dude with, like, slick back, dark hair. He's already, like, having the 5 o'clock shadow grow in, even though he's probably about your age, because it's a high school. Everyone's about your age. A little bit more muscular than he should be. He has sunglasses, because he's a huge douche. Sunglasses hanging out of the collar of his t-shirt, which is soaked in, I guess, shitty pizza and french fries and strawberry milk.
Oh.
And behind him, he has a couple of buddies who don't look nearly as strong or as attractive as him.
Listen, bub, any other day, and I'd love to do this. But today I'm going to tell you I'm sorry.
You think your sorry's going to, like, clean up my clothes? If you're sorry, why don't you go get me some napkins to brush this shit off? How sorry are you really? And he shoves you.
Sorry enough that I won't make you feel bad. And I'll just teleport past.
Yeah, where do you go?
Towards that corner where Robbie disappeared around.
Why don't you give me a Unleash Your Powers?
Yeah, let's get my freak on.
Yeah, get your freak on. 2d6 plus freak. Let's go.
Wham. That would be a 10 exactly. Yes. No failure this time.
A 10 exactly. Yeah, you get exactly what you want. So you do teleport away. It's holding your breath, right? You hold your breath and just walk to the point, like between realms. Cool. You basically blink from point A to point B, and you pop up roughly around the corner that Robbie disappeared, and you do catch him at the tail end of that hallway. And seeing him like round the corner at the end of that hallway, you realize that the door closest where it looks like he's going leads more or less basically to where you met Tabitha, that little future dumpster alley outside of the school.
She is not getting Robbie the way she got me, and I'm just going to start sprinting.
So Todd books it, and he's having that little thinky thought, and we see a panel of him reaching out for the door to get outside, and then there's this flat speech bubble that pops off from the corner that says, "Where do you think you're going, Mr. Tabour?"
Look over my shoulder.
It's Mr. Splash.
You know what? I'm going to be straight with you, Mr. Splash. I think my friend's in a little bit of trouble, and I'm going to go pull his butt out of the fire.
Are you really trying to play hero?
At this moment, it's not playing, sir.
What sort of trouble do you imagine your friend to be in?
I think he's getting it. He is going to be getting in with the wrong crowd. He's going to try and use him for some bad shit.
You want my recommendation, Mr. Tabour? I was privy to the incidents in the cafeteria, privy to your use of powers, as were several other individuals nearby. You do not want to go missing at this point in time, unless you find yourself in a bit more trouble than you're already in. Your friend is outside.
I believe so. I just saw him rounding this corner here.
I will make sure your friend is safe. You go atone for crimes that are honestly going to be fabricated and unfitting to what transpired, but you will have to face them regardless. It is the way of things.
This is why you're my favorite teacher. Thank you so much.
He nods, and he will, step to the door, and he looks back at you, do the thing, go back. And he'll walk outside.
And with a sigh, Todd will ruffle his hair, just put it back behind his ears. All right, let's see what Biff's telling everyone.
And I think the scene that Todd finds back at the cafeteria is... He probably rounds the corner that he teleported by just as he was leaving, and there's one of the teachers on lunch duty is already rounding the corner, and she looks down at Todd and says, "We were looking for you. Come on," and gestures for you to follow her. What I think transpires thereafter is maybe a few panels of this total Chad student just being yeah, he just came up and flipped my tray all over me and then teleported away. What a douchebag. And he's telling this to one of the teachers who is nodding. And when Todd shows up, looking as Todd is apt to look, like a delinquent, it's unfortunately a clear-cut case of the rules in society turning against Todd. What was an obvious accident on his part has been twisted into something more. I don't want to say damning, because this is a high school. I'm talking about bullshit high school stuff. But yeah.
He'll lay it out straight for the teacher. He'll say, listen, you can listen to the Chad here, and you can give me to the detention, which I'm not going to go to because I have plans today. Or you can agree that it was an accident. I'll write him a letter saying I'm sorry, and we can all get on with our day.
The teacher that the total Chad was talking to looks at you and says, Is your last name Tabour by chance?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we know about you and your activities and cutting out from classes and some of the other things you've done around here. I think that you and I should go have a little talk to the principal about what's happening here and maybe about your behavior across the board. I would hate for these sorts of things to start getting worse.
Oh, so you're one of those teachers who likes to abuse their place of power, huh? And bully kids.
You know as well as I do that this is a no-power school zone.
Well, Chad shouldn't have pushed me and tried to make me fight him.
Unfortunately, now it's his word against yours.
And you don't trust me because I'm a poor kid, right? So you're classist.
Well, you can fill me in on what I am on the way to the principal's office, Mr. Tabour. Come.
I don't have to fill you in. I think you already know.
Are you going to just follow behind him and just keep saying this stuff?
Keep telling him how he's treating me unfairly because he just doesn't care. He's probably a friend of Chad's father. What, you're going to tell me how Chad is never like that when he's at your kid's house? Blah, blah,
Chad
blah.
is a saint. I will not have you demean Chad. Chad is a god on Earth.
Oh, yeah, then why doesn't Chad have powers?
Yeah, no, he doesn't engage in the he lets you talk pretty much. He's an older teacher, a little losing his hair on top. His hair is all gray. He has one of those long wizard beards, I guess, because I just said that, so it's canon now.
You were probably alive back when racism was still a thing, huh?
Yeah, I think we get like a front-facing panel of this dude's face, and he's just putting on the I am too old for this bullshit. Like, the most I am too old for this bullshit face. But he does escort you down to the principal's office, and because it's so iconic, he's like, sit on this bench, and I'm gonna go have some words with the principal, and you better be here when I come back.
I'm sure you will. Whatever you say, Dumbledore.
You'll spend some time waiting. I'm assuming you wait.
Yeah, he's not trying to get in more trouble than he's already in. Not this time.
The teacher who escorted you down here will walk out of the office, and the principal, a rather short, completely bald-headed individual with a very luscious mustache, gray mustache, will walk out and look at you, and he will say, Come to my office. Let's have a little talk. Let's have a little talk, huh?
Todd will stand up, like fake dust off his jeans, see you around, Dumbledore.
Yeah, and you go into this, you pass like a reception area. He has a couple of secretaries, and then he walks you into his office. And when he takes a seat behind his desk, you realize just how short this man is. Like, it's a regular size, like, mahogany principal desk and a regular sized office, like, comfortable leather office chair. And he's just childlike sitting in this. Like, there's no way this dude's feet are touching the floor as he's sitting there.
Have you ever seen that cult classic Star Wars? That, like, really, really old movie?
Actually, yeah, I'm a big fan of mostly the expanded universe, but yeah, I am familiar with the work of one George Lucas.
Are you gonna be my Yoda?
He shakes his head and says, "I've yet to determine if you follow the light side or the dark side, Todd Tabour."
I enjoy someone who likes media references.
And you can see he's pretty fidgety. Like, he's now drumming his fingers on the desk, not like out of impatience, like he's talking to you and stuff, but he's just doing it. He seems to be a little fidgety. And he says, so I understand there was a bit of an altercation in the cafeteria, and from the descriptions of it, and he picks up an index card, and you can see there's nothing on the index card. It's just a blank index card. He picks it up and he says, teleported. You seem to have blinked or otherwise moved in impossible ways from the situation, which good on you for avoiding a fight. Yes, that's good, but we do have a strict policy against using powers on school grounds. You understand?
Well, first, I like the term bamfed, because I'm a bamf.
He pauses for a second, and then he picks up another index card, and he goes, oh, yes, I get it now. I don't get it.
Badass mother effer.
Yes, but okay, so going with proper school procedure, I've had to inform your parents about the incidents. We do take power usage on school grounds very seriously, even if no one is hurt in the process, just because of how things could escalate. And they've advised that your sister is to be informed, as she seems to be something of a on-ground guardian for you. Is this correct? It's a very weird situation. I've never heard of it before. I'm pretty sure it's not legal.
Well, sir, when your family makes as little as mine does, we all kind of have to work together. We all can't be as privileged as Chad.
He does seem to do very well. His family does seem to do very well for himself.
His parents seem to pay his teachers very well for his grades.
Yes, the school would only be half of this school if it wasn't for him and his family, mostly his family. But regardless, in accordance with your parents' wishes, I've informed your sister, who should be waiting outside once this meeting is done. What I need to make certain of is, Todd, you won't use your powers moving forward. You understand that was incorrect. Correct?
I can tell you I'm sorry, and I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think there was a better way.
Okay. I think there's no reason to escalate things further. This is a time offense, and as long as you understand why you were called down here and not to do it again, I think we can let this go. And I feel like informing your parents of the situation is enough of a step forward to correcting the behavior. And you can see now that he's also starting to get super sweaty. And it's super cool in this room. Like, it's a comfortable, 70, maybe a little lower. But his beads of sweat on this guy.
Are you okay, Principal O'Shaughnessy?
Yeah, it's I go through it's called a sweating diet. It's how I maintain my lean physique. It's I've trained myself to sweats extremely to get out, water weight and fats and stuff like that.
Huh.
Yeah. It's really, really very interesting. If you want, I could teach you sometime. I suppose this is a school where teaching is done. And he picks up an index card and says, or so I'm told. And he just starts shuffling his index cards.
Well, thank you for your time. I'm gonna go.
Yes. You go, and hopefully we will never have a meeting like this again.
Yeah. Let's not. Just slowly backs towards the door.
Yes, and Todd, may the force be with you.
And also with you.
He smiles.
Just backs out through the door.
And as you leave the office, you do find that your sister Talia is sitting on the bench near the doorway.
Just a deep breath before.
She stands up and she approaches you, and she has kind of a blank expression on her face, and she puts a hand on your shoulder. It's a good thing you didn't get into a fight. They probably would have sued us.
I'm only here because I tried to not get in trouble.
I understand it was just an accident, and honestly, it seems like you played it out the best way possible, all things considered. If you had stuck around, I'm sure it would have gotten into a fight, from what I heard anyways.
Well, if there's one thing I try to do, it's keep my word. And I told you I'd try to stay out of trouble.
She smiles. I think a lot of people don't give you credit for how smart you are, Todd. Probably because they don't give you the time of day, and I think that's because you don't present yourself as someone.
Most of them tell me, why don't you just look at your phone? There's a clock on there.
Yeah, maybe it's a little bit of a society thing, but I also think it's a little bit of an image thing.
Yeah, the teacher looked at me and was like, yep, Chad was telling the truth.
I'm not surprised. Chad's kind of a douchebag.
Any other day, and I would have let him throw the first punch and hit him back. Because the smart man always hits second. That way it's self-defense.
Have you ever even been in a fight? And by this point, she's directing you to start walking down the hall to get to whatever class you guys have to attend to next.
I haven't, but I'd like to think that I could hold my own at least.
Did I ever tell you about the time that I was in a fight?
Right, you know that pillow fights don't count, right?
I know that pillow fights don't count. Do you remember the summer where I had the broken nose and I said that someone hit me with a football?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a football, it was a fist.
Why'd you let him deck you in the face?
He was saying some mean stuff about a friend of mine, so I hit him, and he hit back, and then I really hit him. And then he stopped hitting back.
So what you're telling me is violence is the solution to all my problems. He'll say with this half smirk on his face.
Yeah, she chuckles and says, I think what I'm telling you is that us Tabours, we have a lot of fight in us, but our best asset, and she kind of just points to your forehead, is being able to think our way out of problems. We're smarter than a lot of people give us credit for.
He'll just lift up his backpack a little bit and just kind of lean his hips to the side and point to his butt and go, I thought this was my best asset.
She does that, the most eye roll thing again.
He'll give her a playful shove.
I think at that point, as you two are just kind of being siblings walking down the hall, just thinking about some of the things she said to you, it has potential to shift your labels. And I think it might, unless you want to reject her influence. But I think she is trying to use this moment to tell you a little bit more about who you are.
Nah, I'm going to take it.
She's definitely shifting your superior up. I think from what she was saying, she definitely did kind of off the cuff say that you guys are a little bit more dangerous than people think. You know, you guys can put up a fight. So I don't think she's decreasing danger. I'm almost thinking she's decreasing surprisingly mundane by saying no one thinks of us like this. Everyone thinks we're a little either less or different. I think that's implying you're not necessarily just a regular person. You know, you have these smarts, you have these capabilities. You and your sister are different than these regular mundane people, and you don't quite fit in.
I totally get it and agree.
So your superior's at a +3 because it went up by 1, and your mundane went down by 1, so it's now at a -1.
Correct.
Nice.
I am not a person. I am a Tabour.
I think she walks you to your next class, which conveniently I'm going to say is Mr. Splash's class. When she gets there, she will say, just before saying goodbye, she like pauses and says, I almost completely forgot. While I was waiting, this girl, she gave me a note to pass along to you. I don't know if you know her. I don't know her. All I know is that she's a senior. She holds out this like folded up note. It's folded up in that way that where it like slides into itself. She holds it up and she says, she like looks at you and says, I didn't read this out of respect for you. I'm not about snooping into your personal life. Even though the whole situation is very sketchy, Todd, I'm trusting you. And she hands you over the note.
Well, I've got something to tell you after school then.
She says that she'll be there. In fact, the whole family will be there.
Well, let's not involve Mom and Dad with this just yet. I'd rather just tell you first.
She nods and says that she'll meet you after school.
He's just like the thought bubble is just internal screaming.
Just internal. Is it like star, like between like asterisks, internal screaming, or is it actually just like, ah?
It possibly would be like that after she's gone. It'd be that like page long fuck in his head.
Yeah.
Before he steps in, he will open and look at the note.
It's a rather short note. It says, "Hey Eastwood, long time no chats. I wanted to invite you to this little party that we're throwing, that myself and some friends of mine are throwing at City Hall this afternoon after school. You should totally drop by and crash the party." And then it's signed with a cartoon cat face. After the cat face, there's a PS, and it says, "I think one of your friends will be there too."
This time out loud. Fuck!
I'm sorry, Mr. Tabour. Is something I'm teaching insulting to you?
I don't know. Can you repeat that?
Straight face. He says no. So yeah, what's the play from there?
From there, I guess he's got to try and... I feel like he would know Robbie's schedule, like the classes that Robbie has.
If you're going to do something after Mr. Splash's class, he will stop you once he wraps up teaching, just as you're about to leave. And he will say, "Mr. Tabour, I did not find any signs of your friends outside when we parted ways earlier today.
Yeah,
I'm uncertain if he has left school grounds or if you were simply seeing things, but I would urge you not to waste my time again in the future."
I'm sorry, sir. It was not my intention for your time to be wasted. I just got some problems I need to sort out.
He nods. Approach them carefully, lest you find yourself in more trouble.
I'm gonna do everything I can to stay out of it. Perhaps even prevent some trouble that may be coming.
How very unlike you.
Well, what can I say? Bad things go down. I don't want the people I actually care about to get hurt.
Now you're starting to talk too much like a hero for my liking.
Who'da thunk it, right?
He shakes his head and will say, "Just remember, if you're going to hold on to thoughts like that, try not to fly too close to the sun. The ideal is cute, but very unfitting for the actual world."
Don't worry, sir. I can't fly. I can only teleport.
You can leave my class now.
Just shoot him some finger guns as I leave.
Yeah, he does not react whatsoever.
That's okay, Professor Snape. I still love you.
You said you're going to try to follow up on Robbie's schedule?
Yeah, all the while shooting him texts like, "Are you with Tabitha, the girl with the cartoon cat on her jacket? If so, get away from her. She's dangerous."
So I think that not only do you not find him at his usual classes, schedule-wise, you also don't receive a text response.
Yeah, I had that feeling. And at that point, I think he's going to start freaking out a little bit, getting really worried. And this is where I'm going to hope, this is where I can lift the guilt thing, because he's going to make this sacrifice, and he is going to go to one of Talia's classes, because she might not think he knows her schedule, but he does. He's going to ask if he can talk to her for a minute. He's got something he really, really needs to talk to her about.
Let's clarify what clearing guilty sounds like. To clear guilty, make a sacrifice to absolve your guilt. The sacrifice being actually approaching her?
He's going to approach her and confess everything he's done with Tabitha and tell her how he's worried that the same thing's going to happen to Robbie. Perhaps maybe lowering her opinion of him, which right now really, really matters to him because they were getting along so well.
I think that, so maybe you try to find Robbie after Mr. Splash's class, and you don't see him around, his next class, but then you have to, maybe the class that follows that you have with him, and he's also not there. So by the time you would actually go seek out Talia, I think it's pretty much at the end of the shortened day anyways.
Okay.
You can definitely try to catch her right as her class is wrapping up, or as quickly as possible, catch her at her locker or something. And I think what happens is you two actually run into each other. She was looking for you as well. And as you bump into each other in the hall, she looks kind of upset. She's definitely not as jovial as she was earlier. And she says, Todd, I have to tell you something.
I've got something I need to tell you.
Okay. Maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. Did you talk to our parents?
No.
Did they? Oh, yeah, they would just leave it to me. She takes a deep breath, and we're seeing this panel of you two just in the middle of the hall as other kids are just leaving. They have their future backpacks slung over their shoulders. There's this one asshole with one of those bags on wheels that just follows him also. But you guys are surrounded by people going
Anime protagonist.
Yeah, but you guys are just surrounded by other kids who are just end of school, we get out early, let's go do the thing, let's live our lives. And you two are just in the middle of that, standing off, both with some rather heavy news. Yeah, the last thing I think she kind of mutters is, of course they would leave it to me to bring this up. Yeah, that's fitting. And she looks up at you, almost unsure as to whether you should say your piece first or she should say hers.
What I need to say, we need to be in private.
That sounds really serious, Todd. Is everything okay?
No.
Okay, let's do yours first. And she'll grab your arm and I'm going to say take you to the girls' restroom on this floor.
I was going to say one of the restrooms. I was going to kick in the door and then lock it once we were in.
Yeah, that's fair. You both have basically the same idea. So
Yep.
Although she definitely starts leading you, you just naturally follow beside her and you go do the same thing. You lock the door once you guys are in. There's this very brief moment where I imagine you two just share this look of oh, we were perfectly in sync there. That's kind of cool. But then Talia says, what do you need to tell me, Todd?
I'm so sorry that this happened, and I'm sorry for all the things I did. But here goes. And he'll launch into a whole story of meeting Tabitha, all the shit they did, and he will just look apologetic the entire time. And he will end with how Robbie was acting really weird today, looking at his phone, and he went to that same spot where he used to meet Tabitha, and now he's gone, and that letter that she gave him, he'll show it to her and show her what it says.
Yeah, she reads the letter and folds it back up and just looks up at you. And I almost would imagine that we might see a panel, not from Todd's perspective, but over his shoulders, where it's almost like she's looking at him judgmentally. And I imagine that might be how he thinks she's looking at him. Just oh, you were doing this and you never told me. I can't believe you stole a car.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next panel is her just pulling him into a hug. And she says, everything's going to be okay. You and I, we're smart people. We can figure this out.
He'll just hug her tighter, and maybe she'll feel the tear coming down his cheek, and he'll say, they're not coming, are they?
And then we see a similar tear on her, and her speech bubble just says no.
And they just have a good cry together, hugging in the bathroom.
Alex, I think with that tender moment, can you tell me what's the last panel we see of this particular session of game is? What closes out this chapter of this book?
I think the last panel has to shift to wherever Tabitha and her crew are, getting ready and saying, and maybe her talking to Robbie saying, "You ready, short stuff?"
Yeah, I think after we pull out, seeing the Tabour siblings in this loving embrace in a girls' bathroom in high school, we definitely pull over to Tabitha, who seems to be standing in an alley of some sorts. And with a glance over her shoulder, there's a speech bubble that says, "Are you sure you can keep up? You can go home if you want." And then the actual last panel is a close-up of Robbie, who's like moves up to her side, and then there's 5 other figures, like silhouette figures in the background, showing that, you know, they're not alone. And Robbie just kind of like looks at the ground, and his speech bubble just says, "If it gets me powers, I'm ready." And that's where your issue ends.
God damn it, Robbie.
God damn it, Robbie. Your brother is going to be so mad.
His brother's gonna be, Matt's gonna be fucking livid when he finds this out.
Oh, man. Oh, you thought I was going to kill your family.
Oh, you're gonna kill his.
Yeah. No, I just made your family sad again. I built you up to knock you down.
Oh, you know what? It still feels good.
Speaking of feeling good, you can definitely clear the guilty condition. I definitely think just that heart-to-heart with your sister, something that, like, I imagine Todd in his prelude, asshole Todd, would never do. And there was probably a big obstacle of, like, this is kind of demeaning. You know, am I really owning up to this, especially with her? How will she react? I feel like that's a huge emotional step to take. And I definitely think just the way that played out absolves Todd of his feelings of guilt.
And it was exactly what I was aiming for.
We can do a post last panel where we jump back into the bathroom and the two of you are facing off, and Todd, you say,
"So what should I do? Who does this make me now?"
And I think she takes a glance down at the note you gave her, and then she looks back up at Todd and says, Todd, I don't know, but maybe it's time to try being a hero."
Then here I'll be.
Mr. Critically Accursed here to throw you a thanks for listening to issue number 6, Todd Tabour. I hope you had as much fun with this issue as Alex and I had playing through it. I mean, what's not to like? Family drama, total chads, a stupid best friend getting in way over his head? Man, I bet you can't wait to see how this plays out. I know I can't. I'm on the edge of my seat. Oh, man. So while waiting, if you'd like to reach out, please feel free to leave a comment wherever it is that you are listening to our podcast. You can also find me over on Twitter at @CAccursed, or Alex, player of Todd Tabour, at AlexPolin3. You can also voice your concerns and send all of your hate mail to the entire Critically Accursed podcast crew at criticallyaccursed@gmail.com. All that said, we will see you next time in issue number 7, The Conduit.
It's the first time of today. To dream, believe. You are the strength, you're all I need. Oh, gonna give it a shot. Only one of me to shield you all from the enemy. superhero. Can I be your superhero? Superhero. 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 Can I be your superhero? You're a superhero.